Neutral traits are a very interesting subject when it comes to competitive Dark Souls 3 PvP. Neutral traits are a good reason why you need some of the Dark Souls 1 Poise in your Dark Souls PvP experience. Neutral traits happen to almost everyone, intentional or not. If you're somewhat into Dark Souls 3 PvP, you get screwed by a neutral trait at some point. Neutral traits are the reason why I've always said that dashing attacks are garbage in Dark Souls 3, and is the reason why everyone says that this game is boring and promotes overly defensive playstyle. So what is a neutral trait? The concept is very basic and simple. As you know, there are various combos in the game, with combo being a couple of moves linked together. The reason those moves can be coupled in a combo is the fact that first move in the chain has enough hit stun to keep your opponent vulnerable for the next hit. However, some attacks like rolling and dashing attacks are neutral. This means that you can't combo them, you can't start a combo with a dashing attack, nor you can use it as a follow-up. Those attacks don't have much hit stun because they're not designed to be used in a combo. Very simple. So what happens if you say start doing a dashing attack with your katana and I get a read of it, but instead of dodging or blocking it, I just press R1 and open up with a sword swing? Well, according to the logic of the game design, I would lose. See, FromSoft aren't stupid. The way the game is designed, in most cases your dashing attack will be faster on startup and you will land it safely. Not only that, sword hits don't have any hyper armor, so in theory I'm completely screwed. This would be the case if I'm using a relatively slow weapon, while you're using something quick. However, the moment both of us swap to something quick, it gets really tricky. I could be way faster to the trigger compared to you, which will net me a free combo. Would that be a worth it rate for you? Well, not really. But it gets even worse. Once you add gimmicky Dark Souls netcode to the mix, you get something special. Since FromSoft have never seen an appeal in having dedicated servers handle the action, we get to enjoy glorious P2P that brings some inevitable side effects. You can argue that abusable neutral traits are part of it, and you would be right, at least to some extent. So what happens in the game is that a tiny bit of luck almost always creates a trait for me. So I'm technically trading a neutral attack by simply mashing the R1. Chances are I don't even have to be faster to the trigger, I just have to be lucky with the bit of latency between us. And since my R1 is non-neutral, I can start a combo with it, leaving no possible follow-up for you. So we both trade and we both get staggered. However, since the dashing attack has very little hit stun compared to regular R1, I regain control of my character a lot faster, which enables me to extend the combo and apply the pressure. This leaves you completely screwed in any possible way and it sucks. There's nothing that can save neutral attacks. That's just it. Those openings are not worth it. Sure, if you have watched my matchup analysis videos, you know that there are some weapons that can apply neutral pressure pretty well. But even then, you can trade those openings in certain situations, which makes them unsafe. In other words, even the best neutral openings are very tradable and can be punished in competitive environment. This is what breaks the game in PvP, or at least it's a part of it. Weapons like pre-nerf Cardoskirt sword or any other straight sword used to dominate those exchanges and it wasn't much fun. However, the best weapon for abusing neutral traits will always be Astok. Not only is it super fast and quick on recovery, it can proc counter hits like no other weapon. Sure, due to the fact that Astok doesn't have much hit stun, it can be very tricky and not as easy to set up as it was with old school Cardoskirt sword, but it is still very abusable and pretty broken. This reduces any kind of competitive encounter to the battle of whoever gives up and whiffs the most. In most cases, players try to zone in and out, baiting a whiff. As we all know, baiting a whiff is a dangerous game and sometimes it's a pure gamble, but at least there's a feasible reward. If you exclude the standing pressure meta, the only other alternative for applying the pressure without using any specific setup is trying to use neutral openings, and those openings can be easily punished. This creates an image of Dark Souls 3 PvP being boring, and it's the exact reason why you see two good players sit and wait for mistakes. This ultimately doesn't mean that Dark Souls 3 PvP requires no skill, it just means that it's a battle of patience in the first place, since both whiff punishes and neutral traits are a pain to deal with. You're basically left with no real good safe aggressive alternative that is worth the risk. This is where your favorite Dark Souls 1 mechanic, the Poise, could save the show. Poise, if done right, is capable of solving some of those problems. Although to be fair, I'm not a big fan of Poise the way it was in Dark Souls 1. I much prefer Dark Souls 2 kind of system, and I think it fits the game in a better way. However, what we have in Dark Souls 3 is probably the laziest kind of option. Good job FromSoft, you have tried. Anyway, I hope this explains to you the reason why competitive Dark Souls 3 PvP is so boring. Or I hope it explains you the reason why dashing attacks are not a good option for aggressive play when it comes to competitive PvP. In other words, if FromSoft would have gave us Poise and proper combos, it would have been much more fun to play this game, with good options for both defense and offense. However, with what we have now, this game will forever remain 14-roll casual grindfest with a bunch of defensive tools at your disposal. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.